All right, today's epistle reading is from St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, chapter 4, verses 22 through 26. And I'll be doing the explanation according to the Blessed Theophylact, who is an archbishop from the Ochre region of Bulgaria from the 11th century. In verse 22, "For it is written that Abraham had two sons, one by a bondmaid and the other by a free woman." The explanation: the apostle has stated previously, "They which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham," in Galatians 3:7. But the patriarch's sons were not equal. One was born of a slave and the other of a free woman. He demonstrates that you are not merely the sons of Abraham, you are his free and well-born sons. Thus has the faith ennobled you. And verse 23, "But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by a promise." An explanation: after stating that both are sons of Abraham, Paul appears to make an improbable statement. Those not born according to the flesh of Abraham from Abraham are his sons. He is stating that not even Isaac himself, Abraham's very own son, was born according to the flesh. How could Isaac have been born in accordance with the natural law of the flesh when the nature of both his father Abraham and his mother Sarah had been deadened by old age, and Sarah was sterile in the first place? Rather, it was the word of God and the promise of the Lord which formed Isaac. Ishmael, on the other hand, was born naturally after the flesh. The one who was born according to the flesh was a slave and a stranger to the inheritance. The one not born according to the flesh was the master and heir. What then hinders you, who were not born from Abraham according to the flesh, from being his sons? Were you not also formed and given birth by the power of the words proclaimed by the priest at your baptism, the invocation of the Holy Trinity? Verse 24, part 1 of 24, which things are an allegory? This explanation, this spiritual history reveals even more than what was just stated, which is why it is called an allegory. It is a type, a foreshadowing of the events now taking place by the grace of the gospel. In verses finishing 24 and 25, "For these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which is now and is in bondage with her children." And the explanation here, the word "these" refers to the two women, Agar and Sarah, interpreted allegorically as the Old and the New Testaments. Agar is the type of the Old Testament, for the law was given from Mount Sinai, which is in the Arabian desert, and in Arabic is called Agar. Sinai in Arabia answereth to, that is, corresponds to, Jerusalem. This means that Sinai in Arabia neighbors Jerusalem, and they share a common border. It also means that Sinai is likened to the earthly Jerusalem, is analogous to it, and is understood as such because of the similarities between the two. Therefore, just as Agar was a slave and bore a child into slavery, so also the law from Mount Sinai, which is also called Agar and is likened to Jerusalem for its corresponding and an analogous relationship to it, begets into slavery those who adhere to the law. There is much in the law that is slavish and devoid of freedom. Virtue is legislated for the purpose of obtaining transient rewards such as earthly goods, and the avoidance of evil is accompanied by fear of punishment. And in verse 26, "But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all." And the explanation, "But such is the type of Agar. Now let us consider the type of Sarah. She prefigured the Jerusalem which is above. She is the city and the homeland of the faithful Christians, and from her comes our law, the gospel, which is from heaven. She is free of slavish observances of the law, and ordains all things freely and nobly. We Christians do not strive after virtue for the sake of a material reward, neither do we flee from evil because we fear bodily punishment. Rather, the promises given to us by our mother, the heavenly Jerusalem, are divine and heavenly. Likewise, her punishment, appropriate for noble sons, inasmuch as we are punished only as noble sons, is that we may not commune of the mysteries at the table set for us by our Master."